And we are live on YouTube. Um, Welcome everyone to our bi-weekly College Council meeting. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of our wonderful college, San Diego City College. College Council is the highest level of governance at our college where we practice and implement participatory governance. There are representatives of all constituency groups that make up College Council. Any member of our campus can bring an agenda item forward to College Council one of two ways, either by communicating with your constituency group leader, who I'll introduce shortly, or by merely emailing the president's office, Aaron Flanagan, or myself, and requesting an item be brought forth to College Council. We try to publicize the agenda 24 hours ahead of the meeting so that the campus can see the kind of things that we're going to be talking about. But in most cases, before an item comes to College Council, we've had a chance to speak to the leaders of the constituency groups about matters. But again, if you would like to present something to College Council, you're more than welcome to email your constituency group leader or to email the president's office. I will begin the meeting with a roll call. Let me share the agenda. And here we go. Past president of the Academic Senate, Paul Alexander.
I'm here and I think unmuted.
Yes.
Yes.
Billy Chavez, Vice President of Instruction.
Present.
Aaron Deddy, Administrative Representative.
Present.
Robbie Ewell, one of our deans, chairs of Institutional Technology.
Present.
Caesar, Public Information Officer.
I'm here.
Dr. Hill, Supervisory Representative.
Present.
Nadia let us know she wouldn't be here today. Our thoughts are with her. Destiny, and I believe normally Josh represents Destiny. And I'm sure Josh will be along soon. Dr. Murray, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness.
Present.
Dr. Amai, President, Academic Senate.
Present.
Dr. Parker, Vice President of Administrative Services.
Present.
Juana Payne, President of the Classified Senate.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Wisenhunt, Vice President of Student Services.
Present.
Okay, looks like everyone is here. And the first item up for approval are the meeting notes from the March 9th, 2021 minutes. We could take a motion for approval.
This is Awana. I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Juana. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Paul.
Paul, thank you, Paul. Any further discussion about the meeting notes from March 9th? Hearing none, all in favor indicate either by physically raising your hand or raising your hand via Zoom. Is there anyone who would like to either abstain or vote down the meeting notes? Hearing none, all the meeting notes pass. Thank you all. And the meeting notes are posted on the college's website for our participatory governance. In this case, it is College Council. Let me share the agenda again. We are very blessed to have two of our amazing faculty members who are part of the committee putting on our 6th annual social justice conference. And so I wanted to invite them to present to College Council and those watching via YouTube to encourage people to attend the social justice conference. And so we have Dr. Grace, as we affectionately call her, and Dr. Lopez from the Social Justice Committee with us. I will turn over the floor to you all.
Thank you very much, President Shabazz. Before we actually, thank you everyone who present here today. And Dr. Grace is here with me. We're both from the Sankofa Committee as part of a committee that's been working on this conference. Before we actually go any further, though, we were hoping to share a short video with everyone present. So if I can share my screen and kind of take this, it's a very short video. Hopefully my audio is working.
Every day you have to be thankful for what you have, because you never know. You need to find the strength within you to like keep going, right?
I wasn't always a caring person, but I guess from being, being through the same thing that they've been through, me and my wife went through the same thing. Being homeless, being on the street, being rejected, all these different issues we went through ourselves, so we can empathize with them. We can understand what they're going through.
It's out here, right? The streets doesn't discriminate. If you're 2 foot tall, 10 foot tall, it will destroy you. When the cold air goes in your bones, and it's you're sore when you wake up in the morning. It's not easy living on the streets. It's hard.
People going through very difficult times.
When you're homeless, it's like the most humiliating thing in the world.
Sometimes it's really hard for people with lived experiences to really trust that someone actually cares.
Don't look at it like, oh, you bad. There's no hope for you. That's terrible.
I was going through a divorce, so I had nothing. I left everything, my house, my car, all that. So I basically came with what I was wearing.
I had to get 3 open heart surgeries, and I experienced domestic violence. Then when I got out of the hospital, I had nowhere to go.
There's never no hopeless situation, and you can't outgrow it without grace.
To have a storage system for them to be able to store this stuff for free is incredible.
Oh, without it, it'd be a nightmare. It's become kind of a safe haven for me and a lot of other homeless people trying to come up out of this situation.
It's like a ladder set down in the hole to help you climb out.
So this place helps you to take from step A to step B to step C, because people shouldn't be homeless for years and years. You have to get out of it.
A lot of people do change. So little things like this is what makes it happen.
So I was on the street getting high, devastated, sleeping everywhere, and you're stuck in a cycle of destruction. It goes on and on and on. There was a power greater than me, that was God, that pulled me out of that. And that same power is blessing me, giving me the strength to encourage them and to share that same spirit with them. So when they come in, they can feel that. It's atmosphere now.
This is a no-nonsense place with zero tolerance for abuse and for illicit and drug activity.
Everybody just knows when you walk into our center, they just kind of get it. You're just like, okay, this is somewhere that I really want to be, so maybe I should probably not start trouble.
These people don't just need storage. It's personal issues. They need healing. They need to be encouraged. There's a lot of need out here.
And when you see a place like this, it does a lot more than it looks.
We try to provide pride, dignity, emotions that people don't generally feel on the outside of the gates.
So it's very inspiring to see that they can bring out that full potential from within themselves. And that's exactly what our mission and values are.
I love seeing people coming out the showers happy. They transform themselves. They actually put some of their comments like, oh, I feel human again. I don't feel ashamed.
It helps your mood, helps you get into a better sense of self.
As you see in here, there's peace, it's serenity. It's more in storage unit. I mean, I'm proud to say that's helped me out tremendously.
Having this definitely saved my life.
Did save my life, did help me, it's still helping me. Now I am moving on. Thank God because of this.
Everyone needs a chance. Everyone needs something.
Now I'm moving on, progressing, I have a place.
I wish we could do more. When you're doing good, you feel good.
I am so grateful for this little bit. You know, I am so grateful for it.
That's a good feeling.
Okay. So thank you for that. We wanted to begin with that because we are just a little bit of context. Last year we were working with Think Dignity, a local organization doing some wonderful work. And we we're going to do a fundraising event for that. And as you all know, come March, we had to sadly cancel it because of COVID. We're going to continue that partnership for this this conference beginning tomorrow and Thursday. And we're going to hopefully, try to get the word out and raise some money and some support for this really important local organization. This is an organization that's been doing has supported the conference over the years, has also sponsored the conference and has presented at the conference. So we're really excited about that partnership. In addition to that, Think Dignity also has a lot of great opportunities for students and community members to volunteer their time and work on behalf of this organization, its vision. And then we also have to think about this in light of the tragedy that just recently happened near City College, which raises a lot of questions, right? Of the responsibility of this community and things like that. So we are excited. We're excited that the conference is back. We're ready to go. We have two dynamic keynote speakers, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, tomorrow, will be Willie Perdomo. And then Thursday, we have Yusuf Bunchi Shakur. And we have 2 days of concurrent sessions that will begin immediately after the keynote addresses, which will begin 11:10, and the sessions will run all the way up to about 3:45. And then, of course, Wednesday, we can't have our conference without VAMP. VAMP is going to be a feature on Wednesday evening at 7, beginning at 7 o'clock. And we'll have a number of City College students who are going to be sharing their writings with the world. So that's really exciting. Dr. Grace is dropping in the Social Justice Conference website where we have all of the sessions, the keynotes, and the links. So all you have to do is go to the links and you're into the waiting room of these sessions. So we hope that all of you can be there and support and spread the word to get as many folks there. It's been a tough year, as you all know, and it continues to be tough. And we're hoping that the issues and topics that this conference brings forth will get us kind of thinking through a lot of these things together collaboratively in order to, make some change and actions.
If I can just add, hi, this is Grace John. I'm one of the dance faculty, and I just am really excited about this conference as we'll have a couple arts panels. As a dancer and a teacher of movement, arts is really important to me and the way to bridge arts and social justice. And I also wanted to point out that we have, although our keynotes are from across the country, we have a lot of local organizations and local organizers that have a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with our community. We have such a rich community here in San Diego, and to be able to feature folks that are doing the work like We All We Got San Diego Mutual Aid that pulled together really when we fell into this pandemic. So they have a panel on Wednesday, and also Michelle Woodson, who is the executive director for Think Dignity, has a session on Thursday, one of the closing sessions. So just really inviting you to come participate, listen in, and encourage everyone to come. It's free. You just need to come in with an open heart.
And again, we think that's what makes this particular conference so special, is because of those community ties. It's got a very strong collaborative spirit with local organizations. And again, I think it's also a large testament to the work Paul Alexander's done, over the previous years and continues to do so. So we're really happy and excited and excited to share this experience with everyone. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Paul. And on behalf of the college, we'd like to donate $1,000 to Think Dignity, and so I asked Aaron to assist with that. We've got a small allocation of funds that we normally would go to events in the evening and buy tables, and since those things are not happening, we've been able to allocate some additional resources. So on behalf of all of the great work that you all are doing, I mean, that was touching, almost brought me to tears, to the things that we take for granted, a hot shower, a storage unit, that is social justice. And since we are social justice, the least we could do is try to help others that are doing similar work that we're doing. And Paul, to your point, I was approached by one of our great faculty members, a retiree, pro rata, Laura Castaneda, who's over at the UT now. She offered an opportunity for me to write an op-ed about the unfortunate matter that took place under the B Street Bridge, where our neighbors, several of them were killed. And so hopefully that'll be coming out on Thursday of this week. I want to thank Caesar for helping me with that item, and the faculty. So we're highlighting our work with the homeless population, our certificate program that we have, the great work going on in student services around food distribution and the like. And so as the saying goes, the marathon continues. Paul, is that a hand, Paul?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things. So Michelle Woodson is also the executive director of Think Dignity, is also City College alumni. So I wanted to make sure we gave her a shout out for that and the amazing work that she's doing. And hopefully we'll continue to see all of our amazing students follow kind of that path of giving back to the larger community. The other thing I was saying is, even though I've been a part of the Sankofa committee, last night I was going through the schedule again. And this is a really kind of amazing, fantastic lineup. And the fact that, City College is making this available for the entire community, no charge, no registration or anything. I don't think that can be understated kind of how important and valuable it is. And so I highly, highly recommend that people, both from our campus, and if anybody's listening from outside of our campus, man, it's one of the easiest. All you have to do is click on a link and bingo, bango, you're there. So again, I highly encourage as many people as possible to tune in, because there's really some really important speakers here. All of them have some type of connections to the issues that our students struggle with on a daily basis. And I can't thank the Sankofa committee and all those involved enough for all of the kind of the labor that they put into making this a successful conference this year. But folks, spread the word, tell your friends, tell your relatives, your students, and everybody. It's an amazing lineup.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for introducing me to Michelle Woodson. I am happy to report that we're going to be honoring her in the first, at least in my time, first City College alumni event. Where she will be featured on a banner on campus. She has an amazing story, and our students can learn from her experience at City College. And if I could make an appeal to the City Women Rock Committee, she would be a great speaker for that event as well. And so I echo everything that Paul has said. Any questions for Paul, Grace? Or there are more people at our college with the same names for either Paul or Grace.
Ricky, this is Tilly. I just wanted to ask Paul Lopez if we can get access to the background that you have.
Oh, and that, thank you for reminding me, because we have to give a shout out to Kim LaRue for this amazing background, and we could actually drop it into the chat right here. So
that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, thank you all. We appreciate you all being here. Next up is equally a talented group of City College colleagues who are killing it, doing tremendous work on the outreach and marketing front. You heard Paul just talk about Kim LaRue. We got Victor behind the scenes on the website. We got Luke and a whole tribe of outreach folks, to also include the Promise team. And there's Kim right there. And so if we could, I'll turn it over to Luke and Caesar to provide an update on marketing and outreach.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. And we also have Vic here. He's on the line as well. And here, let me share my screen. Okay, so just a recap of our spring semester advertising. I'll start off with our email advertising using constant contact, communicating with our students. So this is the email that we delivered to 33,200 of our students. Thank you to Outreach and Student Services for providing a distribution list for our current and previous students. And so the open rate was 32%. And you can see on the bottom comparing industry standards, open rate is usually around 19%, which is tremendous. And I think the reason is that the communication is very concise and streamlined, and the information in the email is the information that students want to see. So, links to the class schedule, links to registering for classes, and also help. So, Luke and his team have done a really great job fielding questions from students who's received the emails. And so, we sent it in January. So this was prior to the start of the semester. Then I'm going to go talk about our media buys, our digital and out-of-home advertising. So our primary objectives were to inspire 18 to 25-year-olds in our general service area, and also to include the Hispanic market. And so we also included Hispanic advertising with our campaign. And so our flight dates were November 1st through February. And we had 3 areas that we wanted to target, which was awareness using our digital display and traditional media, engagement using Instagram, and also conversion, which is our Google search and remarketing. Here's a snapshot of our digital campaign. The campaign served over 1.5 million impressions through the duration of the campaign. And as you can see here, that the business studies and the I Am City College creative, which was done by Kim, had the most visibility and highest engagement rates. And you can see here, these are the other, in the pie chart, the other areas that we use to promote the spring semester. And one thing to note too here, that our media buyers said that our search campaign performed 222% above industry benchmark. And so the Google rep was just amazed of how we did those numbers. And I think it's due to the variety of ads that Kim created, and then also the just the great marketing and messaging that was in those ads. Here's sample digital creative and all the different programs we highlighted this go around for the spring. And then as you can see, the 2 lower ones incorporated for our Hispanic community. Here's a snapshot also of our out-of-home traditional media, which equates to our billboard or poster locations. And our media buyers were great that a lot of our billboards stayed up. So, a few semesters ago, we decided to not include any dates or months associated or on our creative. And so, which lends itself to being up for longer periods of time. And so the total proposed impressions were 3.2 million, but our campaign delivered 5.6 million with having those extra weeks of display. And so you can see here, those are the listings of the locations of our billboards. And then here's a sample out-of-home creative. You can see on the left, that's Euclid University. The other one's Imperial Ave and Euclid Ave. And those are very high traveled areas and in our communities. And then just some of the comments and recommendations from this past campaign. We're going to continue to include Spanish advertising with our marketing. We're also going to include Instagram. This was actually the first time we purchased Instagram ads at this scale. And so they did actually extremely well compared to the Snapchat ads we've done prior to. So we're going to continue with Instagram. And then also for traditional media, we're going to try to include some radio to be included with our out of home, which I think will just add greatly with the awareness of our brand in the community. And then that is it for me. I'll toss it over to Luke to share his update.
Thank you so much, Caesar, and thank you so much, College Council, for having me here. Dr. Shabazz, Vice President Chavez, Vice President Wisenhunt, Vice President Parker. It's always a pleasure to come and speak to you all and share with you some of the things we're doing in outreach, and we definitely appreciate the words that you all share and the encouragement. So some initiatives, some focus that we're doing this semester, the spring 2021, that we're trying to execute. We are after the first semester and go around and year of being in COVID, virtual learning, everything, we had to take a step back and evaluate, what's the way we can continue to have the impact, to continue to connect. How can we adapt in this environment? And we came up with some goals that we wanted to have to ensure that we were not only reaching the community, but that we're connecting with the community. And this is what we came up with. And this is what we're currently working on in our focus this semester and this year. So one of the biggest things that we wanted to do was grow our network, and specifically with high school populations. It was simple as a Google Map search, to see who fell within our feeder area. And we were pretty successful. These are some of the brand new partnerships that we had this year: Academy of Our Lady of Peace, St. Augustine High School, Coronado High School, San Diego Virtual School, even some of our college going programs like Wahupa Upward Bound, Talent Search, EAOP. We've actually collaborated very, very closely. Actually, this week we have 2 amazing City Insight sessions, which provide students with a snapshot, an overview, and a connection with the campus. And I want to definitely thank Vice President Wisenhunt for being able to come out and speak to these students in the coming days. So these are our big initiatives that we had, and we wanted to make sure that these students had the same service, the same support, the same connection that a lot of our other feeder schools did. And we really wanted to focus on these folks, and I'm quite happy with the progress we had with our high schools and growing our network. We'll kind of move forward to our next kind of focus, which was growing the community and business network. Now, this is something we were doing in person quite a bit. And right before COVID, we were really diving into the whole connecting via social media and email. And I'm really happy to say we actually started a campaign called Let's Connect. And we probably sent out close to 200 emails to local nonprofits, organizations, some of it, even the ones that we've discussed here today, as well as over 150 direct messages to nonprofits, organizations, businesses. And I'm proud to say it's been quite successful. Some of the goals were to establish a connection for partnership, meet to discuss needs and initiatives, and how city outreach can collaborate. Now, quite often when folks approach outreach, it's always, let me come table the event, I'll have an outreach ambassador come sit, or let me come present. But in this time of that we're in our commitment to social justice, we had a really strong desire to partner with folks, partner with the initiatives that are happening in our community, what we can do to come together to really support, thus bringing visibility to the college and connection to these programs, not just a one and done kind of thing, but a partnership that's going to be longstanding. We tapped into networks such as Facebook and the city of San Diego, the county, to find out who all of these service providers are. Some of the organizations we were able to connect and already had meetings with is like Alliance Healthcare Foundation, Access to Independence, Hope Through Housing, the California Conservation Corps, Art of Autism. We have a meeting coming up with the United Way of San Diego, Neighborhood House, and a lot more. These are some amazing partnerships. We're even partnering with the California Conservation Corps, not only to present to the folks that are local, but they've asked us, because they enjoy the way we deliver our outreach services, to present to potentially the entire state of California that's going to be working inside the California Conservation Corps. So this is something that we're willing to do, that we're not scared to do, but we're just really confident. And we've had some tremendous meetings with these partners, and there is tons of potential for us to connect. And really the second half of it is really focusing on the businesses. I have a goal and I have a dream to see our flyers, to see our marketing up in your local Jack in the Box, up in the local businesses. So when people are taking a break from work, they can see the potential that city has to offer. And that's a huge goal that we want to see. We want to be represented everywhere everyone goes. Moving forward, another focus we had was bringing focus into academic programs and career pathways. I'm very proud of this initiative. We're actually partnering with Mr. Sean Bacon and our graphic design department to pilot a brand new workshop called our Pathway Insight Session. And essentially what this is going to do, it's going to humanize, it's going to normalize the feeling of connecting with one of our amazing faculty members here at San Diego City College, bringing insight to who they are as a professional, what the program is. I'm going to be bringing very, very shortly. We are going to be piloting this program with Mr. Sean Bacon, but I would love to expand it and bring in any program, academic program that wants to go down this venture with us. So if you would like to, please reach out to me. We would love to feature you. It's done in like a little interview conversation style, so the content is easily digestible. It will also be recorded, and faculty members can use it as promotional material, not only for their website, but for social media as well. A couple more points I want to hit is obviously strengthen our outreach services and access. One thing that we discussed about in the joint meeting last week was the idea of gaining access to not only just drop-in services, but full classroom workshops. City Outreach is hosting application for admission, application for promise workshops, upwards of 50 students at a time. We're supporting students through that entire process in our high school populations, not only with presentations, but again, like I said, the application for admission, and also providing consistent drop-in service hours. Very, very soon, we are going to be diving in with Lincoln as well, with something we're very, very excited about. And we understand one of the campuses that we really, really wanted to focus on. And this is something we're extremely proud of. We're one of the only outreach programs that are getting this access. And I think it's just a commitment from not only the high school campuses, but consistency on our end, and willing to bring out these support programs and services with us, and which makes the students really, really excited to see City coming in. A couple more points and then I'll finish up is the last, one of the last two, we're just going to be our strengthening our equity program recruitment and enrollment support. Just recently I met with Dr. Charlins, Counselor Rashid Aiden, as well as Dr. Luis Perez. We talked about the idea, what can we do to streamline and really integrate these equity programs, not only into our campus, but into the steps to enrollment. And that is something we're really, really trying to do. So this questionnaire, it's going to be somewhat of a common application, a common interest form for both Umoja, Puente, and Hubu. So students can fill out one interest form and indicate which program that they desire to go to. Thus, we are going to also support with obtaining data, as well as getting a query system for them, as well as doing some intentional outreach through our Promise cohort, which we already have upwards of 200 students applied to San Diego City College for the Promise. Is something we're very proud of, and we can intentionally reach out to those students. So this will be a huge focus. We're in the final phases of solidifying this, and we're really excited about the opportunity to fill these cohorts early so they're connected to our campus and they start building that community of what these programs do for our students. And second to last, is our San Diego College of Continuing Education. We actually had the pleasure of presenting to every single counselor on those campuses. We did a presentation and really discussed the idea of what City can do and how we can transition students over. We actually developed them a custom steps to enrollment, which you see here on the screen. So students are able to navigate the City process. Also, specifically, they do have the Promise opportunity, but depending which program they're assigned with, they have a unique step. So we broke that down for them, made sure that they understand who's going to be the contact person while integrating all of our programs and services to them to make sure that they're well integrated. We're also partnering with some of their immigrant programs as well as support programs on campus and really supporting them through that entire process. And lastly, really bringing to light our international student outreach visibility. This was an effort that we kind of dove into. Outreach did the initial legwork of identifying some potential partners for looking for students on visas. We're working closely with Ms. Megan and Dora in admissions and records to make sure that those schools are meeting the qualifications to come to City. Once we do vet that list and ensure that these campuses or services would be a good partner with us, this is something we're going to dive in head first, whether it be informational sessions, application support, but really getting them connected to our services and really providing a clear pathway to San Diego City College from their school that they're currently in. A couple other things to bring to light. We are hosting our City First Step session. This happens Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So it just ended. So any student that wants to drop in to get support, we have outreach ambassadors, classified staff available to support them through the entire enrollment process. And then lastly, proud to announce our April, we're going to be starting our City Info Night sessions. We're going to be hosting them all the way through August. So some amazing, amazing partners. We're taking a little bit of different approach to it, not just presentation style, but really the opportunity to connect with with our amazing faculty members and staff, because we found that students want to interact, they want to chat, they want to connect, they want to share their story. And we feel like this is a key way that students can definitely do it. This is going to be it for me. And I just want to thank everyone for having me here today, and Caesar. And thank you again. I'll pass it back over to Dr. Shabazz.
Great job, everyone. And again, we just wanted to give the proper due attention to the wonderful marketing and outreach team. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Genevieve and a host of other folks who are a part of this team, including our classified professionals and our faculty who participate in these events. The saying is it takes a village, and we don't just have a village, we have an amazing group of professionals who come together and bring amazing, much needed attention to our educational programs and the opportunities that exist at City College. Are there any questions for Caesar or Luke? Hearing none, or comments?
Phenomenal work. Fantastic. Inspirational. Luke, I have to say, Denise and I were texting back and forth that we've been working with our deans with CE as well. And you've done some amazing work that will help that pathway piece. So I think that's another connection that we'll be making with you as well. And I have to do a big shout out to Kim LaRue. I can't say enough about his background is just gorgeous. Everything you touch, my goodness, just like gold.
The best designer on the planet works at San Diego City College, hands down. Anything else before we move on? Okay, great job, everyone. Let me bring back the agenda. Next, we sent out, Caesar and I did an update that we stand for social justice, which means we stand for our Asian Pacific Islander brothers and sisters who has long come under attack from white supremacy and other forces that we stand against. And we issued an announcement to the campus, as did the district, that these senseless acts of violence against Asian Americans need to stop. We're one country, one people, all fighting for opportunities for social justice, educational equity, academic excellence. And so we just wanted to state for the record that we stand with our Asian brothers and sisters against these senseless acts of violence. And certainly if anyone else would like to chime in, we would welcome that opportunity. Masa.
I'm happy to report that the Academic Senate yesterday has passed a resolution, action-oriented resolution, which I'm bringing it to you folks on our regular meetings.
Great, thank you, Masa, and thank you to the Academic Senate for doing so. Any others would like to say anything? If I could turn it over to Denise Wisenhunt, who is spearheading with her division the month of May to acknowledge the contributions from our Asian and Pacific Islander fellow Americans.
So we are putting together a calendar, and we are working with our ANAPC group, working Dr. Sanchez is working, the ANAPC group has been powerful on the campus with that additional resource that we got under CARES. We were able to do some intentional support for our Asian American students, and to that end, the same thing, that same level of engagement and participation will be happening in terms of some of the activities that we're pulling together for the month of April.
Thank you. And I heard April, but we all know you meant May.
I'm sorry, May.
No worries, no
Yeah.
worries. And City College is a minority serving institution, which allowed us to receive additional funding. And in that funding was for Hispanic serving, as well as Asian serving institution. And Denise's leadership and her team's leadership is seeing to it that those funds go to bring positive attention to the contributions of those groups. So thank you, Denise, and everyone working on those programming and efforts to get resources in the hands of students. So thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for those efforts. Any other comments regarding the matters that are going on in our country? Certainly, and hopefully not on our campus, as we fight for social justice and that everyone is welcome on our campus. Hearing none, we will move on the agenda. Next up, I'm going to invite John Parker to share in the discussion about our allocation of HERF / CARES funds. And so there, as he's keying up the item to share, there are 3 pots of money to provide an update to. I did email the deans and the members of College Council a spreadsheet earlier. I must apologize that as soon as I hit send, I received a new updated allocation. So don't be surprised when you see what John is going to share today, and I'll ask John to send it to the members of College Council. The numbers are different. And here's why they're different. We know that many of all of our employees have been impacted by working from home. And Human Resources and the AFT are in negotiations about a dollar amount in the way of a stipend to support folks working from home. And it really is a love gift because it doesn't cover the actual cost of working from home, nor does the allocation cover the actual cost from working from home, but it is a token of appreciation. I'm not at liberty to tell you what the dollar amount is at this moment because it is in negotiations, but let me say that it will be between $300 and $500, which triggered us having to go back for a 4th time to reallocate these funds. And I want to give kudos to the vice presidents who have worked so closely with one another to try to get resources in the hands of those most impacted by COVID. This dollar amount also coincides with additional funding for our students. Now, as far as I'm concerned, all of this money is going to support students, whether in direct aid or indirect aid. And so I'll tee it up to John Parker, and this is meant to be a discussion if anyone has any questions about the allocation.
Thank you, Ricky. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. I apologize. I am having technical difficulties. I chatted that I got knocked off. As you can see, my cell phone is logged in twice, but I'm no longer in on my cell phone. So if I drop off again, I'll call back in. Thank you for teeing it up again. Just want to provide an overview of the HERFs 1, 2, and 3, and I apologize for misnaming the CARES HERFs. I just wanted to be clear. There are 3 different HERFs. There's a CARES HERFs, a Carissa HERFs, and now the new ARP HERFs, 1, 2, and 3, in that order. The CARES HERFs, which was the first initial institutional HERF, that deadline is fast approaching. We have about a month left, and those funds are just about exhausted at this point. And we did receive our allocation for the Carissa HERFs, which is the Coronavirus Response Relief Supplement Allocation Act, I believe, of just over $5 million we received within the last 2 or 3 weeks from the district. One thing I did want to broach was how these allocations are dispersed to the campuses. As you know, CE is a non-credit entity and thus cannot directly receive federal funds. So the three colleges, or the colleges, College of Continuing Education, that is, cannot receive Title IV or federal funds. So the three colleges must disperse or allocate a portion of our allocation to CE. As a result, we received approximately 24% of the district's allocation, which resulted in just over $5 million. And I'll bring that up on the screen here in a second. For HERFS 1, which is almost exhausted, that was 1.3, just under $1.4 million. Primarily that was spent on online success training for faculty, hardware and software for online learning, technology. A huge portion of it was for technology, server and improvement to labs, expanding on student services, mental health support for students, counseling, PPE, NANCES, you name it. I will be able to provide an actual report after the deadline, and once we've trued up all of the actuals and moved funds into the respective expense accounts, I'll be able to provide a more accurate update of the actual expenditures. So I'm going to share my screen here for the Carissa HERF 2 funds. How's that? We're good? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
I won't go through. Sorry? We were just saying good? Okay. I won't go through line by line. I'll let the committee review here, but just do want to discuss that we've had with the VPs and President Shabazz dozens of discussions on this, on how to prioritize these funds to ensure that we're providing the support for students, student programs, DSPS, mental health, student health services. We realize there's a lot of need, and it's not easy prioritizing our need. And we'll talk about some of those needs in ARP HERF 3, which will be supplemented. But if you just want to take a quick moment, again, rather than me reading line by line the allocation for students, for student services, instruction, and to a lesser extent, administrative services for technology, Apple computers, and commencement support. Ricky, is there anything else or colleagues that you wanted me to touch on while I have this up?
Yes, John, this is a matter for a vote. And so after you go through both, there will be a vote. I don't know if you, we should open it up to questions if people have specific questions about the line items. And as you are thinking about your questions, there are two areas, really three areas for each of the divisions. So you see the 750,000 line item 3. That is a catch-all for Tilly to work with her division, instruction in this case, about hard to convert items. And so if you don't see your area there, that is worth a discussion with the vice president of instruction and or the dean, your dean. Same for student services in item 16, and the same for admin services, item number 31, right? And so some of this is spelled out based on conversations and things we are aware of. And some of it is a line item for a catch-all for the vice presidents to work with their respective divisions to fund things that we're not aware of. In either case, these are one-time funds. This is not meant to be sustainable. This is meant to respond to the growing needs related to COVID. And so for those of you who have needs that are not COVID related, those needs should be addressed via the college's normal budgeting process. The other thing is that those who are receiving funding, it is a requirement that your request is in program review following the college's processes. Denise or Tilly, is there anything you all like to add in the discussion?
I want to thank my division for providing good counsel and really sharing their needs that helped inform the work that was done by the leadership and student services to what you, which reflects some of the information provided today. And I also, I think it's important, like you shared, that there are some opportunities. This is HERF 2, but there is a HERF 3. And so, it's just, I just really want to commend the leadership team and actually the division for engaging in this process.
Thank you, Denise. And absolutely, we agree with that. Tilly, anything to add?
I think the only thing I would add, Ricky, is thank you for commenting on line 3 for me, that it is somewhat of a catch-all of there are things that are probably not specifically listed. But I also wanted to recognize that while these are extra fund, these are gifted funds, we didn't have them before, we would be doing without some of these things. It is a really big help. I just want people to understand that we're going to put them to use. We need them. But at the same time, we also have to keep thinking ahead when we no longer have the funds, how we continue to move forward without those. So I just want to put that out there and have people think about that as well.
Great. Thanks, Tilly. And before I open up to questions, I just want to remind everyone watching or here on College Council and ask that you take this back to your constituency groups. These funds must be expended a year from the time that we draw down. So we drew down, I think, a week ago Monday. And so this is not the type of money to put in your mattress, as Dr. Bull and I were talking about, and hold it till tomorrow. Anything not expended within a year needs to be sent back to the federal government. There's also extensive reporting to the federal government about these funds. And so it is being held to a level of scrutiny that is much higher than our normal general fund or restricted budgets. These have to be COVID related matters. If we can stop to share for a moment, John, and open it up to questions from College Council. Are there any questions?
And if I can elaborate.
Go ahead, John.
Please.
Oh, I was just curious about the Nances to support dance and drama and how that's looking.
Yeah, John, if you could share again, and go ahead, Tilly.
Yeah, so thank you, Juana. Good question. So really what we're looking at is, and I don't know if you recall this or not, but we are down a theater technician. And I know you might say, but we're COVID and we're not really providing that. There's a lot of things that still need to be done and completed. And what we're looking at here in this place is the Seville Center, the Seville Theater has a lot of needs. And we've also been using some money with Perkins, et cetera. And there is no one that has that type of expertise to do that. And until we're able to take that position out of a freeze, it's a solution right now to try and get the equipment, at least even purchase the equipment that we need with that. So that's what those funds are for.
Thank you.
And if I could add, and we're talking
Please.
about folks line 8 on the budget that's being shared. That might also want to be a consultant. That's going to be dependent upon the department and the ability or inability to hire a Nance with the level of expertise that Tilly just outlined. And for me, the challenge here is this. If the equipment in the Seville is not maintained by someone who has the expertise, we may not be able to use the Seville when we come back.
Right.
Any other questions? If we could stop sharing again, John, thank you. Any other questions?
I had another one.
Sure.
To elaborate on the diversity committee mini grants in line 21.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question. Denise, do you want
to?
This is an opportunity as a college to engage in looking at our data and being intentional in the work that we do to support our students during COVID in the way of mini grants. So that's the direction that we're going, is giving us space to have faculty, the campus community engaged in providing grants. for students. And we've had the opportunity to look at some of the data, particularly for our disproportionately impacted students. And we can see that there are some needs and there's disproportionate suffrage. Surprise, right? So this is a space that'll allow us to do some intentional work in the areas of COVID to help our success indicators, retention and success for the campus community.
Other questions? And thank you, Denise. If there are no, if there are not any questions, we will come back to this in the next item for a formal vote. But John, if you could continue with HERF 3 or anything else you wanted to add about HERF 2.
Yeah, just piggyback to what you were saying, President Shabazz, about HERF 2. We do have a year to expend the funds. You had mentioned sending funds back. I'm not a big fan of sending funds back. So if it came down to it, if by chance there were any funds remaining close to the year deadline, we can provide additional grants to our students. So that's where that would go. We would never send any money back. And I really just want to reemphasize what HERF Cares can be used for. It should be for costs associated with delivery of instruction, equipment, technology, applications, additional tutoring to support remote learning environment, training for faculty and staff to operate effectively in a remote environment, and PPE, obviously, and facilities, resources, and if we so choose, additional scholarships for students. I have received some rather cryptic requests. We can't do lazy boy chairs, if you will, or 50-inch monitors or spaceships, as Ricky has called them, no spaceship requests. It has to be, and I'll be sending out another communication with the revised care forms for HERFs, I'll call them, with the revised HERFs forms for HERFs funds requests. In that email, I'll outline what they can be used for, what they cannot be used for, in addition to a copy of the revised form. HERFs 3, which is the ARP.
John, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Before we go on, there is an amount in HERF 2 that we're not talking about, and just for the record and knowledge, Denise and the wonderful team in financial aid will be allocating on top of the dollar amount we just spoke of, approximately $1.6 million in direct aid to students. And so Denise is working with financial aid in a group to come up with the allocation formula for students, much like we did with the HERF 1 or the CARES Act. So there is an additional dollar amount that we're not talking about that will go through the financial aid office in the form of direct aid to students. And that's in the dollar amount of approximately 1.6 million.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to HERF 3 draft. This is our draft, preliminary draft. This will go through several iterations again, but we're starting high level at this point with our estimated $5 million, with 1.5 being allocated for instruction, another 1.5 for student services, $1 million for administrative services, and $1 million for the President's Office for marketing, foundation, academic senate, and institutional effectiveness. Now, some of the priorities that the VPs are developing, in no particular order here, is outlined 1 through 7, health and safety to include mental health, hard to convert classes and support services, areas that we realize may not have been funded with HERF 1 or 2 money, or may have been insufficient funding. All requests must be in program review. Complete a request form that we'll review shortly. These, I want to reemphasize, President Shabazz mentioned earlier, these are one-time funds that must be expended on COVID-related matters. This is the spaceship reference. Please do not request spaceship items. Item number 7, Do not commit to software licenses beyond the HERF allocation. Departments and divisions will be responsible for allocations or for funds beyond the HERF allocations. For example, I did receive a request for a multi-year commitment for a software application. We can commit to that. However, the department or division is responsible for the funds beyond HERF. So the intent with the request was to pay for the multi-year commitment with HERF funds. That is not tenable. They must be identified. It will be the responsibility of the division department to identify funds beyond, say, next February. Well, I'm sorry, hypothetically for HERF 2, next February, we would need to identify funds beyond that date. Asterisks, again, this is a draft preliminary. These are intended to support students' needs and their ability to continue with their education. Second, preliminary estimates are subject to change based on actual allocation received and based on need to reduce the district's deficit. Just want to reemphasize that. I'd like to share the new form and discuss the process for requesting funding. If you could be 1 second here. So you've seen this form, may have seen this form. It was a 2-page form. It is now a 1-page form, and it's been revised to exclude some extraneous information for the ease of efficiency, for the purpose of efficiency and expediting the process here. Please, requestor, before it comes to business services or to me specifically, it will need the requestor, the dean, and vice president's signature. I'll sign it, send it back to the requester, and we can that is the approval to commit the HERF's funds. Please be as detailed as you can in the description. I will identify which HERF fund it is and provide an account number upon approval. But the more information we have, the more seamless the process is, and we can expedite the approval process. Are there any questions? I skipped to the form before fielding any questions for HERF 3. I'll go back to HERF 3 and ask if there are any questions from the committee. From the council, I'm sorry. Any questions on HERF 3?
What we are doing with HERF 3 is the vice presidents and myself are prioritizing the request. And so we'll bring the priorities here and have each of the vice presidents and myself to go over the priorities based on this allocation. We're setting aside about somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million for unknown things. We don't know what's going to happen between now and the fall. We probably will not see the HERF 3 funds for another 2 months at best. And so we're looking at things for the summer and in the fall. In my meeting last week with the Academic Senate, asked MASA for the Academic Senate to put forth an allocation for their area, met with Awana and asked the same thing for the Classified Senate. I'll meet with Jocelyn and ask the same thing for the supervisors. And so what I see happening out of the president's office is a specific allocation for those areas to be able to have access to resources that they can also support efforts that were outlined by John Parker. John, I'd ask you for the form which looked very good, if you wouldn't mind adding a box, is this item a request in program review? Just so we're in alignment with our own process at the college. Any questions? And of course, in the president's item, the institution of effectiveness via Dr. Susan Murray reports directly to the president's office. Marketing reports directly to the president's office, as does the Academic Senate. That's why you see an allocation to the president, so that I can ensure that those areas that report directly to me have the same opportunity for funding as those areas that report directly to a vice president. Questions? Aaron, do you want to make that announcement so those that are watching?
Oh, I was just letting you know, Ricky, so you could share it, but I'm more than happy to. Just make sure everybody knows that TaskStream is accessible and wide open. So if there was any adjustments need to be made, because, you know, it's a living document, it's ever changing. So hop right in there, get into your section of your program plan and add into your goal forms. And that way it's there. If you need any help, of course, email me.
Great. Any comments for the good of the order? Hearing none, what I would ask John is if you could bring back HERF 2, and we'd like to take a motion for approval of the college's allocation, desired allocation for HERF 2 funds.
Ricky, I move that we approve.
Thank you, Robbie. We have a first by Dean Rob Ewell. Would someone like to make a second motion for approval of the college's proposed allocation of HERF 2 funds?
This is Alana. I'll second.
Thank you, Awana. Any further discussion about the college's proposed allocation for HERF 2 funds? Hearing none, if we could unshare so we could see John, appreciated. All in favor indicate by either raising your hand or saying, or physically raising your hand or raising your hand in the function. Is there anyone who is either in opposition or would like to abstain for approval? Hearing or seeing none, motion passes. John Parker and the vice presidents will be communicating with those areas receiving funding. Those funds must be expended within a year and must be spent on COVID-related items. You see, some things are specific, some things are generic, to allow freedom to those areas that we are not sure exactly how they need to use their money. And Awana, to your question and Denise's great answer, the committee overseeing the funds for those mini grants will come up with a criteria so that there's still an opportunity for someone who did not receive funding to receive funding through that committee. And so we tried our best to capture the things we knew and to offer opportunities for the things we didn't know to still be funded. So kudos to the vice presidents who worked overtime, had to get bugged by me to get that document. And they're also continuing this work on HERF 3 by prioritizing their division needs. And I want to say that if you saw something, if you have something that did not get funded and it meets the requirement, please work with your vice president. We want to make sure we put these funds in the hands of the students and these funds in the hands of those who are helping our students. One last thing before we move on, HERF 3 will have an allocation in direct aid to students in the neighborhood of approximately $7 million. So between the dollar amount that we listed, the 1.6 million going out to students in direct aid in HERF 2, and the nearly 7 million going out to students in direct aid in HERF 3, we're looking at providing our students access to nearly $9 million in direct aid. You also see a line item in HERF 2 for basic needs, which Denise and her team are going to be working on vouchers and other opportunities to be paired with a pending allocation from the state for basic needs. So we expect to do additional work. And we heard Professor Meehan and others that there are some students who don't qualify for certain things that will have a process through Student Services and Dean Marciano Bettis' office for students to be able to access resources. So kudos to this team And I have to thank the federal government for giving us these much needed funds. I mean, folks, we're going to have access to over $10 million that we did not expect to have. And so let's do a good job of making sure that we improve the lives of our students. That is, in fact, social justice. Thank you all. Any other comments for the good of the order on that? We approved the matter. Just trying to get back to the agenda. Oh, update on commencement. Denise.
We are in the middle of commencement planning. We are planning to do a drive-through commencement celebration as we did in the past. Under the great vision of our president, we are also providing caps and gowns this year, as well as tassels for our students. So we're tremendously excited about that. We're actually firming up the actual commencement testing date. I'm doing that right now while we're talking. But we will have those details out for you. But this is to let you know that we are very excited as a campus. It was the great vision of our president who first started the drive-throughs in our entire district. And now everyone is on board to do those. So we look forward to that. And we will also be sending out other information to let folks know about the other items that are coming up. We have different commencement celebrations that we're firming up now with some of our special programs.
So Denise, I was hoping you would share the exact date and make the announcement that people can now confirm that commencement is in fact going to be virtual.
It is. Oh, yes, that's a huge thing. We have been reserving space at Balboa Park tentatively, and now it is for sure because, of course, in compliance with the CDC and state and federal guidelines, we're going to actually have it virtually.
And that is going to occur?
I have to pull that date up, Mr. President. I think it's
no
on
worries.
on May 23rd, I think.
The virtual commencement is on May 28th. Okay. And more information will be coming. All of the district colleges will be
they're also been the same day.
On May 28th. And Marciano Perez and Denise have selected May 21st as the drive-through commencement. And so that information will be going out to the campus, but we wanted to get it to you since the decision was made this past week that the commencement will in fact be virtual. So we're looking for a day to come in and shoot all of our videos. Paul and everyone Masa. Maybe Paul can give you the heads up. And speaking of heads up, I need to make sure I get an appropriate cap because I brought a cap for Paul last time that was a little too small. And that's not saying anything about the size of Paul's head. It was actually a very small cap. But Masa, you'll be getting information from Caesar and Denise and/or probably Marciano about coming to campus in the Seville or wherever we select to do the taping for the virtual commencement. So we're looking to calendar that date. It'll be coming forward. But thank you to Denise and her teams. May 21st, the drive-through commencement. May 28th, the virtual commencement. Masa, let's talk about that offline. If you have your doctorate cap and gown and you want to wear that, that's up to you. If you'd like us to provide you one, we can, absolutely. Just let me know. Any other updates or announcements for the good of the order? Tilly.
I just had I just wanted to kind of tag on here with the commencement is that be a great opportunity to reach out to anyone out there listening of any other activities that are being added to the end of the semester, end of the year that we don't know about and haven't calendared. Can you please let us know? I know it gets tough. You're used to doing this people are very independent, but in this remote world, we depend on each other for information. So please let us know if you have events coming up so we can add them to the calendar and let the entire community be aware of that.
Well said. Dean Perez has asked that, sent some emails about that. So we're still awaiting some of the information to confirm all of those. But City has a very special graduation. I know also we're adding some elements this year, including the singing of the Black National Anthem. So there are auditions that are scheduled actually when we come back that first week of April. So there's a lot of very exciting things that we're doing to make our day special.
I love that song. I love that idea. And I love, I heard someone as we talk about dismantling these systems and bringing in our own to make students comfortable, the cultural aspect of our college and social justice aspect of our college. We do have an opportunity to make it our own, that our students can in fact be proud of. So glad to hear that, Denise. Look forward to seeing what the committee comes up with. Any other announcements for the good of the order? Hearing none, that concludes our College Council. We'll be back the same time, same place in about 2 weeks. Everyone be safe. Spring break is coming up. We see what's going on in Miami and other places that spring breakers get together. Please, pretty please, wear your mask, be safe. Let's not go back into lockdown like we were. Let's get through this. COVID is real. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you after spring break. Take care.